The recession left a trail of foreclosure, debt and unemployment. But jobs, economic growth and profits have bounced back. US commerce data shows corporate profits were at an 85-year high in 2013. But the middle class has not seen the benefits of that recovery. According to the US Census Bureau, median incomes and the middle class have been on the decline for the last 7 years. We spoke to some Las Crucens on what they think the government should be doing to boost the middle class. Joseph Medina works as a Spanish interpreter and a bartender. He says a higher minimum wage and paid sick leave would help him support his son.
It really helps. Time off, time off to spend with the family, time off in times of any kind of hardship or whatever, when somebody gets sick or something like that. Making sure more people get that, I guess, yeah, that would be definitely a good thing.
Medina says President Obama's push for paid sick leave for federal contractors and his push to raise the federal minimum wage are steps in the right direction. According to the Harvard Business Review, higher pay and benefits would boost productivity and decrease employee turnover. But other studies say the cost of increasing employee compensation disproportionately affects small businesses. And that's a concern for Las Crucens Judy Stravel, who says government needs to do more to support small businesses and job creation.
Grants, different things like that, I guess they could. And they are doing that, but they should do it to a larger extent to get these people to educate themselves to go out and do something like that.
Dr. Jim Peach is an economist at New Mexico State University. He says the middle class is at the core of consumer demand, sustained job creation, and economic growth. He talked about those issues in a recent interview with KRWG.
What does the middle class do? The middle class buys houses, they buy automobiles, they spend money in restaurants. The middle class is essential.
New Mexico US Senator Martin Heinrich is pushing legislation designed to help the middle class, like raising the federal minimum wage to $12 an hour, aligning education systems with the demands of the job market, and addressing higher education and housing debt. But he says the legislative challenges that created these problems are only getting more influential.
I think some of this is related to the influence that money has in politics today. I mean, these are policies that are not in the interest of the nation as a whole. They're not in the interest of a strong middle class. But we've seen many of these policies that hurt the middle class put in place because of the influence of a few very influential and wealthy individuals. And that is something we're going to have to continue to fight. And we're going to have to confront as a country.
Heinrich has introduced legislation that would limit the influence of major donors and corporate dollars in federal politics. He says the structure of taxation is a key example of a federal policy that does a disservice to the middle class and the national economy as a whole.
Our entire tax structure has really incentivized people who make their living off of investing dollars rather than off things like direct labor. And you oftentimes see somebody who's just a police officer or a teacher or a plumber paying much higher effective tax rates than somebody like Mitt Romney, who's made a career out of investing. And that's not to say we don't want people to do very well investing, but you also have to value labor and technical work and skills-based work, and we haven't done that adequately over the years.
In addition to tax reform, Heinrich says to boost economic growth and support the middle class, the nation must address student and household debt. While the American middle class declines, according to 2012 Davos projections, the middle class globally is projected to double by 2030. For KRWG, I'm Simon Thompson.